Hello and welcome to Mad About Superheroes Cartoon Showcase. Thanks for joining me in my quest to bring meaning back to Saturday mornings. On this nostalgic episode, we're going to revisit two of my favorite episodes of the classic Filmation cartoon series, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Teela's Quest and Teela's Triumph. The two Teela-centric episodes aired during the mid-1980s, respectively written by Paul Dini, who went on to write many episodes of Batman the Animated Series, and Joseph Botsford.
By the power of Grayskull.
Those magical words not only transformed Prince Adam into He-Man, valiant defender of the planet Eternia and keeper of the secrets of Castle Grayskull, but it's also the phrase that helped launch a phenomenon. In 1976, along with many other toy companies, Mattel passed on the license to produce a line of Star Wars-based action figures and toys. Kenner acquired the rights, and their Star Wars toy line dominated the competition for years. Mattel needed a contender, and after various stages of development, Masters of the Universe came into fruition. As Star Wars began to slowly fade out, other toy companies began to fill the enormous void left in the wake of Star Wars. Unlike Star Wars, these new additions to toy store shelves had no blockbuster film franchises to promote them. But they did, however, have the next best thing. Hasbro's G.I. Joe, Transformers, and Mattel's Masters of the Universe stepped up and became the most popular toy lines of the 1980s. Masters of the Universe, along with its contemporaries, owe a great deal of their success to their respective cartoon counterparts. The He-Man and the Masters of the Universe animated series, produced by Filmation, whose other prior credits include personal favorites Star Trek the Animated Series, Flash Gordon, and Black Star. Under the guidance of Filmation president Lou Scheimer, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe outshined its previous endeavors, and to this day remains their crowning achievement.
I am Adam, Prince of Eternia and defender of the secrets of Castle Grayskull. Fabulous secret powers were revealed to me the day I held aloft my magic sword and said, "By the power of Grayskull!"
The Sorceress, Man-at-Arms, and Orko share Adam's secret. Together they battle the evil forces of Skeletor. Lieutenant Marlena Glenn is stuck in the middle of an asteroid field and crash lands on the planet Eternia.
Well, you were some pilot, Mother.
That was a long time ago.
It's revealed that Adam's mother, the Queen of Eternia, is from Earth, and though she sometimes misses it, she's very happy with her new home, family, and life on Eternia. Adam's relationship with his mother gets Teela thinking about her own past and who her mother is. A secret her adopted father, Man-at-Arms, has promised not to reveal.
Even as a little girl, I had no memory of my mother, only of Man-at-Arms, who was always there for me. He raised me alone, teaching me both the skills of a warrior and the manners of the royal court. And because of his love and guidance, I excelled at both. But as to who my mother was, or is, I have no idea.
Determined to find answers about her mother, Teela confides in Orko her quest to find an oracle located in the heart of the Crystal Sea. Orko lets Teela's mission slip to Adam, who turns into He-Man and rushes to her aid.
The power of Grayskull!
While searching for the oracle at the Crystal Sea, Teela is met with hostility from the locals, but holds her own against the natives.
The only thing these beasts fear is bright light, so... And now, back to business.
Just when Teela reaches the oracle, she is confronted and captured by Merman, and it's up to He-Man and Battlecat to rescue her from becoming a sacrifice for a legendary sea monster. When the sorceress also learns Teela is in grave danger, She also rushes to her aid. He-Man frees Teela, and the sorceress swoops in, and the trio fend off the sea monster and merman.
Sorry, big fella.
The Oracle then reveals to Teela that the Sorceress of Grayskull is her mother, and she's destined to one day follow in her mother's footsteps and become the sorceress. But until that day comes, she can't retain the knowledge of her true origins, and sadly her mother casts a spell that wipes her memory of this revelation.
I leave her secret with you, He-Man. You can, I assume, keep a secret?
I've had lots of practice.
This early Season 1 episode plants the seed for a storyline that wouldn't be followed up until much later towards the end of Season 2, with the episode Teela's Triumph. A training session between Adam and Teela ends when the young prince is quickly tuckered out and Teela's father, Man-at-Arms, fills in. Unbeknownst to them, their playful sparring session is being watched by Teela's proud mother, the sorceress and the spirit of Grayskull.
When was the last time you visited her?
You know me well, Spirit of Grayskull. It has been too long. But I will wait no longer. I will go to her as fast as I can, on the wings of a falcon.
On her way to visit Teela, Skeletor just happens to be testing a new gizmo, and unknowingly zaps the sorceress, sending her to another world. The spirit of Grayskull calls upon Adam to summon He-Man, and Teela is tasked with taking the place of the sorceress.
The sorceress is gone. You must take her place.
Me? How could I take the sorceress's place? How could anyone?
No one could, except the right person. You.
But why me?
I cannot explain that to you now. I can only ask for your help. I cannot force you. It is your choice.
I don't understand any of this, but I'll do whatever I can to help.
He-Man seeks out Skeletor at Snake Mountain, suspecting him as the culprit. However, once Skeletor learns that the sorceress is missing, he realizes that Grayskull is unguarded, and quickly has Evil Lyn send He-Man to the same world he sent the sorceress to.
That's the end of He-Man! Where are we?
We're in another world, Battlecat. Skeletor's new weapon sent us here.
He then heads off with Trapjaw and Evil Lyn to attack and take over Grayskull. Teela pretends to be the sorceress, but her true identity is soon revealed to her enemies. However, Teela single-handedly holds off Skeletor's forces until He-Man finds the sorceress and they use the power of Grayskull, channeled through the Power Sword, to return to the Mystic Castle.
It's the real sorceress! It's a trap! You fool, they've tricked us! We walked right into their hands! But they'll never catch me, never! Skeletor! Nah! Wait for me! Oh!
You don't want to go and leave Trapjaw all alone, do you? I'm sure he'll appreciate the company.
I hate this!
Teela's Quest and Teela's Triumph effectively explore themes of an unconventional family, such as giving up a child, adoption, single parenthood, and the effect it has on Teela. Though she was raised with love by her adopted father, Man-at-Arms, and she's grown into a strong leader as captain of the Royal Guard, the absence of a mother figure and a lack of understanding of her mother's absence weighs on her. Though she eventually finds the answers she seeks, unfortunately those answers need to remain a secret. And though her newfound knowledge is erased by the sorceress, she's at least left with a feeling in her heart of her mother's love. Sometimes Teela filled the typical damsel in distress role, a common trope of the era. However, Teela was more often portrayed as a strong, competent hero in her own right, on par with He-Man and her father, Man-at-Arms. Though modern movies and TV shows would like everyone to believe female heroes are a completely new endeavor, history proves otherwise. Scarlet and Lady J on G.I. Joe, Wonder Woman on Super Friends, Cheetara on the Thundercats, Firestar on Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, and of course Teela are just a few examples of female heroes that stand on their own merit, that aren't female versions of their male counterparts. Unlike a large number of female characters flooding the mainstream media today, many, not all, of which claim to be the first to advocate female empowerment. The difference between now and then is that past examples feel much more in service of character and story, and feel more organic, while current examples come off as pandering and patronizing. They ignore the hero's journey and show up perfect and all-powerful. Teela's Quest and Teela's Triumph aren't the only Teela-centric episodes in He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. The Witch and the Warrior and Teela's Trial are a couple of other personal favorites. In 2019, Masters of the Universe Revelations was released on Netflix, which had a very Teela-centric storyline. Sarah Michelle Gellar, Buffy the Vampire Slayer herself, was cast as Teela, and this is what she had to say about the original series and the character of Teela on the original 1980 series.
One of the main reasons that I was so attracted to being part of Masters of the Universe and playing Teela was it was bringing a whole new essence to a cartoon that was sort of narrow-minded in its sort of attention towards these male characters. And it always felt in Masters of the Universe that female characters were an afterthought.
He-Man and the Masters of the Universe has an impressive cast of voice actors, such as John Irwin as Prince Adam He-Man. Irwin pulled double duty on the series, also providing the voice of Beastman. Alan Oppenheimer not only provided the voice of Skeletor, he also voiced Merman and Battlecat as well. Linda Gray as Teela. Gray also provided voices for Evelyn, Queen Marlena, and the Sorceress of Grayskull. And Filmation producer Lou Scheimer as Orko and King Randor, among many others. The incredible theme song was composed by Shuki Levy. Levy also composed awesome 80s themes for Inspector Gadget, Mask, and Jason the Wheeled Warriors, just to name a few. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe lasted 2 seasons, producing a whopping 130 episodes, a feature-length film. No, not that film. I meant The Secret of the Sword, the animated movie that introduced He-Man's twin sister, Princess Adora, aka She-Ra, Princess of Power. During the early to mid-80s, there definitely was no shortage of He-Man, and as a child of the era, I absorbed it all. My very first encounter with He-Man was sometime in 1982 in a toy store somewhere in Queens, New York. I was about 7 years old, along with my older brother and our parents. He-Man and Skeletor figures filled the store pegs. Our father allowed us to pick one each. My brother grabbed He-Man, and he tried to convince me to get Skeletor to increase play value with both a hero and a villain. But I wanted He-Man too. Despite his sage advice, he wasn't making the sensible choice either, and we both ended up with our very own He-Man figures. Because my brother and I collected some of the Marvel Conan comics of the era, and the Arnold Schwarzenegger film was out at the time, my brother and I pretended He-Man was Conan. For those who may not know, He-Man's striking resemblance to Conan is no coincidence. Mattel had plans to produce a line of Conan action figures to coincide with the release of the 1982 film, but upon learning the film would be a very hard R, those plans were altered. Mattel shifted their efforts and created He-Man. So it's understandable why for a short time, He-Man, in my mind, doubled for Conan, since he was in fact influenced by Conan. But when the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe cartoon series debuted on television, He-Man no longer doubled for Conan. He was He-Man. My affection for the character grew exponentially, and so did my toy collection. My He-Man action figure wasn't a solo act for long. I also collected the Masters of the Universe comic books, both DC and Marvel versions. Though He-Man and the Masters of the Universe was a series based on a pre-existing Mattel toy line, Filmation deserves a lion's share of credit for shaping He-Man, Skeletor, and company into the phenomenon it became, and for its continued popularity. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe is beautifully animated, and an incredibly entertaining series, steeped in an awesome blend of sword and sorcery and sci-fi technology, with a great sense of action and adventure, with a hefty helping of morality.
In today's story, I went in search of my mother. I found her, but I also found something else. That the man who had cared for me since I was a baby, who loved me as he would his own daughter, was just as much my father as any parent could be. And so whether they are someone we were born to or whether they chose us to adopt, it doesn't matter. The ones who protect us and teach us and love us, they are the ones we call mother and father. And they deserve the same kind of love from us. Until next time.
Teela's Quest and Teela's Triumph are top-notch episodes, and are a couple of examples of why I became as big a Teela fan as I am of He-Man. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Cartoon Showcase, and as always, thanks so much for letting your geek flags fly with Mad About Superheroes.